Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys so much for joining in, for being on with us this morning. If you would please drop a comment in. I know this is a little different from our normal setup, but I intentionally did this one on YouTube only. So if you would please make sure that you drop a comment on, let us know that you're on, that you're here, that you're excited, that you're ready. All right. Let me know where you're watching from. All right, and I'll give you another assignment real quick. Let me know what you are expecting to learn today. All right, let me know what you are expecting to learn, and then go ahead and get as many people on as you possibly can. All right, get as many people on. Thank y'all for coming on in. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be on. Glad to have you on. Glad to know that you're going to get something out of this. Let me know where you're watching from, and then let me know what you're expecting to get out of this course. All right, and we'll get started in just a few moments. I want to make sure because I know we're going to have some stragglers to come in, and I want to make sure that they don't miss anything. So I'm trying my best while not to waste your time for being on early. I want to make sure that everyone catches everything on this morning. So let's get as many people as we possibly can on. Drop something in group me. Let everybody know. Hey, we're already on. You're late. Get on in here and let's make sure that we're taking advantage of this information that people pay a lot of money to get otherwise. All right. So I am going to get started in just let's see here what time it is. All right, 10:04. So at exactly 10:05, we're gonna jump in and we're gonna start to learn and go over this thing because I believe it is important into the body of Christ. All right, that we are able to perform, that we are able to excel in the marketplace. We talk about being blessed in the city and in the field. In our going and our coming, we like to quote scriptures like that. However, there are things that we need to do to make sure that those things can take place in our lives. And I believe this information that I have for you this morning is one of those things. All right. So I'm not going to wait on them. I'm not going to monopolize your time. I'm going to go ahead and jump on into what we have to talk about this morning. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this is the master class that I literally have taught in the real estate industry. Right, that's why you see my real estate information that is there. If you want to take advantage of getting that information, there's a QR code. You can just reach out and email me. However, uh, just want to show you that I've taught this class. I've been brought in to teach this credit building master class. Now, this is not credit repair. If you need credit repair, I got you on that as well. However, this is more so as an informational because it dawns on me with working with people in the credit in real estate and even dealing with people. Let me get into who I am first, and then a lot of this what I'm saying now is makes sense. All right, so pastor for over 10 years. I'm well over 10 years in pastoring, as a matter of fact, being a real estate industry. I have 18 years of collections experience. Over 6 of those years, I was in leadership or in management in the collection industry. Um, I am a realtor at Braden, a real estate group, you know that. And I have personally taken my own credit score to a 800 to right about a 800 to from a 500. All right, I was in the mid. Actually, I probably lied a little bit. I probably embellished a little bit with that mid 500s because I'm almost positive it was probably lower 500s. All right. So why is this important that we are educated about how credit works if we're not necessarily doing credit repair? Because it has dawned on me that in dealing with people in collections, in that industry, the people that I managed in collections, and even dealing with people that I deal with in real estate, that people don't know how credit works. There are people that believe that all you got to do is pay everything on time and you should have a high credit score. Well, paying your bills on time is a big portion of what makes your credit score, but it is not the end all be all. All right. It is not enough just to pay your credit, your bills on time. There are certain accounts that you need. You need to have diversity in your credit profile, right? Um, you need to make sure of how much of your credit you're using. All this stuff we're about to go into details. And one of the things, not only in my experience with dealing with people that needed credit, when I bought my truck, all right, I drive a Chevy Silverado. I purchased it brand new, and I purchased it literally the day after we moved in our home. That was because I totaled my car during the process. While you're getting ready to close on a home, you cannot buy a new car. All right. It will mess up your deal. Had to wait until after we close. And I wanted to get it quickly because I didn't know how fast the house was going to hit my credit. We're sitting in the dealership. We're talking to the car dealer, the car salesman, and he's looking at our credit. He's talking about we have immaculate credit. At the time, my credit probably was about a 740, 750. My wife has always had higher credit than me. I think hers may have been a 780, 790, somewhere in there. We got our chest poked out because we got these high credit scores. And he says, wow, you guys have great credit. I've never been able to get my credit over a 700. He said, I wonder if it's because of those 3 mortgages that I have. Light bulb went off immediately. Because people think that in order to buy things, you need to have the highest score possible. You need a high score. There are minimum credit scores that you need, but you need a strong credit profile. While I'm all excited about the fact that my credit score is so high, and all of this man is sitting next to me probably with well over millions of dollars worth of real estate in his name, and his score was much lower than mine. Give you another example. When the house finally hit my credit, the house and the truck hit my credit about the same time. It tanked my score, dropped my credit score about 60 to 70 or more points instantly. So here I am at about 740, 750, wherever I said I was. Now I'm back under a 700. I'm at about a 650. But even then, I could get just about anything I wanted, and my credit score was lower. Said all that to say, it's not just about how high the credit score is. It's about how strong the credit profile is. And I want to make sure that we understand that going forward today. Please make sure that as you're coming in, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things that you want to learn, talk about, make sure you drop that in the comments, and I'll try to get to that as best I can. All right. And I hope y'all don't mind. I'm having my coffee because I got to have it. All right. So moving right along. All right, let's talk about what the word says, because I know there are people that are wondering, as a pastor, as a church, why are we doing a credit seminar as being a church? Because the Bible talks about credit. Can I tell you something? The Bible mentions money more than it mentions salvation. And it's not to say that salvation is more, that money is more important than salvation. All right. That's not the point of what I'm saying. But the Bible mentions it more than salvation to show us how important money is. And I want us as a church to get comfortable with having money conversations. Not always about giving, but being able to talk about and learn about money, because we can't learn stuff if we can't talk about it. Amen. Amen. So a couple of scriptures I got here to make this tangible for us. First thing we want to look at is Proverbs 22:1. All right. You can find these if you want. If not, I'll read them to you myself. All right. Proverbs 22:1. All right. When I showed this one, I did this seminar at a church one time. And when I pulled out these scriptures, they were astonished to know that the Bible say this. Here it is. Here's the most important one, I believe, today. Most important one today is: a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor than silver and gold. First part, the A clause in this text: a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Good reputation, good image. But when you go to the bank to get something, you need a good name. And your credit score is your name. I believe that believers ought to have a good name. All right. What's the difference between the different bureaus? Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you for putting that in, and we'll cover that. To be honest, there ain't much difference. All right. The 3 bureaus, some of them weigh things differently or they respond to things differently. Your information across all 3 bureaus really should be the same. So I don't mind answering that now. Your credit score should be about the same across, because they should have the same information. The only difference is there are certain creditors that use different credit reports more than the other. All right. So that's a question I can answer a little bit now, and we're going to get more in detail about that, especially when it comes to mortgages. All right. All right. So you got to have a good name. I believe that believers ought to have a good name. The next one is Psalms 37 and 21. All right. Psalms 37 and 21. It says, the wicked borrows and does not repay. I know that's an ouch. All right. The wicked borrows and does not repay, but the righteous shows mercy and gives. Listen, it's scriptural for you to pay back what you have borrowed. Believers have to stop borrowing money, i.e., on credit cards, because credit cards are borrowed money, charging them up, and then don't paying them back. That is, the Bible calls that wicked. All right. Don't go buy that refrigerator on a Best Buy account when you have no intention of paying it. You go and buy it just because you got the credit card. The Bible calls that wicked. And when we talk about righteous living, which we're going to talk a lot about in 2026, righteousness is not just about whether you cuss, drink, smoke, or none of that. Are you living a righteous life? Are you representing the kingdom correctly? All right. Let's go on to the next one. Proverbs 22 and 26. All right. Proverbs 22 and 26. Do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who is surety for a debt. So here's the two things. Here's two things in here. Y'all ready? I'm finna bless you. One is, here's the one point I want to give you from this text. It says, one of those who is surety for a debt. In other words, this text is talking about co-signing on debt. Never co-sign on debt. The Bible says, don't lock yourself in to be surety for somebody else's debt. Don't be. And here's what I want to make this tangible for you. And I hope y'all are learning something and get something out of this already. Hope you're understanding this. Is that if a person needs a cosigner, they need a cosigner for a reason. They need a cosigner because there are issues in their credit. Now, I totally understand the fact that there are two different types of people that have bad credit. There are people that life has hit them and they have bad credit as a result that life has happened. Things happen unexpectedly. Somebody got sick. Somebody lost a job. Stuff went up more than they could afford it. There was an emergency. Somebody passed away. Those are reasons that life happens to people and they end up with bad credit. But the majority of people that have bad credit, if we're honest, that's a small window of people that have bad credit, because those type of people, as soon as they can get back on their feet, they're going to get their stuff back together. The other people that are just careless and reckless, just bad stewards. The majority of people are bad stewards. So much so that there should be so many people on this live right now to try to get the information, but people don't want to be informed. They want to have ignorance as a crush for being bad stewards. So kudos to you for being on this morning. So don't co-sign. A lot of people have bad debt. People I used to talk to on the phone when I was in collections because they signed for somebody else that was reckless with their own credit. And if they're reckless with their own credit, how are they going to be okay with yours? All right. Here's the next thing. Ecclesiastes 5:5. We're going to get down to the meat of these. I don't know if I'm going to even give you all of these. All right. I don't think I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes 5:5. Matter of fact, read the rest of these. All right. Read the rest of these because I want to spend a lot of time and I don't want to take up your whole morning. But if you can screenshot this, take a picture of it, go back and read all of these scriptures. They all talk about money. All right. All of them talk about money and how to be good stewards. This is how your credit score is calculated. This is how your credit score is calculated. All right. You have 30% payment history. I'm sorry, 35% is payment history. 30% is credit utilization. All right. 15% is credit age. All right. There's a percentage. You see that credit mix is 10%, and inquiries, new credit. You might see that as new credit on your credit report. That is 10%. This is what makes up your credit score. This is how all these things impact your credit score. And we're going to walk through it. All right. Credit history. Do you pay your bills on time? The quickest way to tank your credit score is late payments. All right. You got to make sure with everything in you that you pay your stuff on time. And a lot of us, it's not even about what we can afford. It's about the mentality when it comes to credit. All right. It's about the mentality. You got to care enough to make sure it pays on time. I pay it when I get it. Well, guess what, boo? You're not hurting the credit. You're not hurting the creditor by having that mentality. You're not hurting the credit bureaus. You're not hurting T-Mobile, Best Buy. You're not hurting none. I was finna say Foley's. I was finna date myself, but Foley's don't even exist. You're not hurting Discover by paying them late. You're hurting yourself. Pay your bills on time. That is, and there is no quick fix to credit history. All right. Most of the other credit age and credit history are the things that there is no quick fixes to. There's no quick fixes. And even there are a couple of things you can do to impact your credit age, such as having someone to have you sign up on their card as a co-borrower. All right, not the cosign, because don't give them the card, but let them have the benefits of your credit, or you can get the benefit of someone else's credit. And I'll explain it in a minute as well. Pay the bills on time. I know I'm staying there, and I know I am repeating myself a lot with that, but it is imperative. The only way you can get over missed payments is through time. And it takes a long time for your credit to bounce back after one missed payment. Pay your stuff on time. So, teacher, this. The difference between the due date and the statement date. If you by chance miss the due date, do not miss the statement date. Okay. If you miss the due date, it is technically late. You will get a late fee. But if you miss the statement date, which is 3 days later, that's when it actually shows as a late payment. And it will report to your credit bureau once it hits 30 days past due. Do not miss your pay. And if for whatever reason it's late, do not let it go 30 days. Right? Utilization. Utilization is how do you use the credits that you have. You know why this is important? Because this shows your discipline. Can you have a credit card and not max it out? Okay. Utilization is very important. One of the things that builds credit the fastest is credit utilization, credit limits. Give an example. A lot of people start out, this is no knock, because if you're just starting out with credit, this may work for you. You start out and you get a credit card that's $200, $300, $400. Well, a lot of those cards, because they're a second chance card, they're going to charge you an annual fee. They're going to charge you a setup fee, all kind of crazy fees that they put on the start. So if you have a credit card with a $200 balance, by the time you get the card in your hand, it has $100 worth of charges on it. That means the utilization day one is about 50%. Let's go smaller. Let's say the annual fee, the setup fee, whatever they charge you, it comes out to $50. Even then, and with a $200 balance, and they hit $50 on that card immediately, you're already to 25% utilization. Your utilization to impact your score needs to be less than 30%. Once you get over 30%, and the further you get over 30%, the more you are impacting your score negatively. All right. So if you got a bunch of credit cards, they're being paid on time, but they're maxed out, and you wonder why your credit score is not moving, that is the number one reason. You've got to get that utilization down. Stop using the credit cards and pay them down, but never close them. Why do I never close my credit accounts? Because of credit age. All right. Thank you. Thank you. He said, I love the breakdown on this slide. All right. Credit age. So listen. All right. You've got to have credit age. Credit age is how old the account is. So you never close your old accounts. Pay them off and keep them open. Every now and then, charge something on it, pay it back off, and leave it open. Credit mix. All right. Credit mix. What does that mean? There are installment loan or installment accounts, and then there is revolving credit. You need both. installment, and revolving. All right. Installments are loans. They're installment loans because once you pay them off, they're done. Your car is an installment. Your student loan is an installment, personal loan, payday loan. I pray to God you don't have a payday loan because that is predatory. But if you got a payday loan, that is an installment, meaning once you pay it off, you cannot use that account again. Installment loans have a higher impact on your credit. Those are the ones that you can pay off and use them again. Revolving, just like it sounds, it's revolving. You use it, pay it, you can use it again and keep it forever. You want a mix. Typically, especially during the time you are building credit, you want to have an installment loan and a couple of revolving credit. And I can help you with some of those as well. It's not about having them, it's how you use them. All right. Lastly, inquiries. That means when you go to the bank and say, I want to apply for this car. Now, you have by law, you have the right to shop around, right? Meaning when you're going to get a car, you have the right for your credit to be ran a few times during a certain time period when it does not impact your credit score, which means you go to a car lot today, all right? You apply for a car, you don't like the rates. Later on today, you go to another lot, you get a better rate. All of those inquiries, they're in the same day. They do not negatively impact your credit for each inquiry. If you do it within a week, 2 weeks, within a month, it should not impact your credit score. It should only impact it once. And normally you're going to look, the max points you can lose from inquiries is about 85 points, which is a lot. But normally you may lose 2-3 points. I think the max I've seen is like 10. And those are, very different circumstances because everybody's credit profile is set up differently. All right. The more accounts you have, the stronger credit profile you have. Any questions? All right. The more accounts you have, the better, the stronger your credit profile is. All right. So now let's talk strategy. Let's talk strategy. All right. I do have a credit repair company that I own. All right. I've just launched it again, I guess I could say. All right. Started it before because of my experience, because of how I've helped people build their credit profile. I do have a credit. I'm not, I don't even think I want to call it credit repair. I want to call it credit restoration. All right. Because I won't deal with people that just naturally have bad habits. If you are interested, you want to get in touch with my company, all right, you can email us. All right. I'm going to put the email address on the screen. All right. boomerangcredit@gmail.com. All right. When you're dealing with credit agencies, collection agencies, first thing I want to tell you right now is never pay monthly payments to a collection company. I've worked there. I've done it, y'all. It does not help your credit. You got a $2,000 bill in collections. Paying them $25 a month is not going to help your credit. Don't, if you ain't got the money to pay it, to settle it, you might as well leave it there for a minute until you can pay it off. Never, ever, ever, ever use a credit consulting company. Not credit consulting, I'm sorry. Never use a consolidation company. Credit consolidated. Never, ever, ever, ever use that. All right. Credit consolidating. What is that? That means they put all your debt together, pay them off one at a time. They are predatory. Do not use those companies. Again, if you need more advice on the strategy, how to get your bill paid, email me. I'll hook you up. All right. When you're dealing with disputes and deletions, if there are things that you have to pay on your own, again, I'll be more than happy to help you talk through some stuff. All right. You have to pay stuff on your own. Try to pay the companies that are going to delete once you pay. All right. That a lot of that stuff that you hear on TikTok is false. Well, all you got to do is tell them this. They collection companies are illegal. Collection companies are not illegal. This country would never make collections illegal, because if there were not for those that are in collections, the whole economy would collapse. Most of these companies wouldn't exist if they couldn't send the past due accounts to collections. All right. So don't fall for all that. All you got to do is say this: never pay the collection agency. do not listen to them people. I'm telling you, just make sure you know what you're doing when it comes to paying them, but don't listen to people that tell you don't pay the collection agency. They are false. Most of the time, the collection agency is the company that's reporting to your credit once it get there. You definitely, if you have to pay something, you want to pay them so that it can be updated correctly on your credit report. Paying off debt. All right. There is a strategy called a snowball effect. The snowball effect is you get all of your credit cards together. Let's say they are 25, 25, 25, and 25. I wish I don't have anything to write down balances so that I can make this make sense to you. You pay the smallest account off first, and you don't put that money back into your budget. You roll it or snowball it to the next account. Does that make sense? So you're paying 25, 25, 25, 25. You pay the last one off for $25 a month. You take that $25, and now the second to the last account, you're paying $50 a month on that one. You get that one paid off. Now you take that $75 and put it to the next account. Get them paid off. That's just one strategy for paying off your debt. All right. Next thing is, what accounts do you need? All right. I have what I call a master list of a few accounts. I did not type them in the notes, and I didn't realize until I got on here that I should have. But you can write these down. All right. Somebody can put these in. You can put these in notes. One of the accounts that you can use is called Self. 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 All right. Self account will allow you to save money while you build credit through your monthly payments. All right. So you're paying monthly pay. You have an agreement with them to say, I'm gonna pay $30 a month. You pay the $30 a month into a savings account. They will report that as an installment loan that you're an installment loan that you're paying. Right. At the end of the term, you receive your money back with interest. Okay. After a few months of paying to Self, they're going to offer you, or they're going to approve you for a secure credit card for the amount that you've already paid into it. Right. So you pay $30 a month. They may let you get up to, I don't know, $200. You get the $200, they're going to say, hey, we can offer you this credit card that's backed by the $200 that you've already paid. Now you got a credit card and you have the installment loan. You just building credit. All right. Creditstrong.com, kind of similar to Self. It's not an app, but the same way. It allows you to build credit. This one allows you to build a little bit bigger because you have an access to a credit limit of up to $3,500. And guess what? These are not based on your current credit. Forgot to drop that in. So even if you have bad credit, these are accounts that you can get and set up to help you to start building good credit on the front end. Creditbuildercard.com. All right. Secure credit card. Secured means you pay them first. So to get a secure credit card, you go to a bank, and most banks have these, by the way. You give them $200, $300 up front. They will give you a credit card for that $200 to $300. That means your $200 to $300 has backed the account so they don't lose nothing. They don't want to take a risk on you if you got bad credit, but they'll help you to build your credit. All right. And I'm going to teach you nextly how to use those cards. MyFICO.com is a very good way to look at your credit scores to see what the difference, DeMarcus, to your question, to be able to see the difference between those. And I also have a credit monitoring system that you can use to pull all 3 credit reports. All right. Again, email me. I'll make sure you got the link to that. How do I use credit cards? It's a very good thing here, especially when you're talking about using secure cards and you starting out with your credit. Charge something and pay it back off. All right. If you've been out to eat with me, you've seen me do this even recently. I may use a credit card to pay for dinner because I already got the money to pay for the dinner. Use the money to pay for the dinner. Soon as the dinner hits the credit card, I may pay it back off that same night. This is not for you not having the money to pay for dinner. This is for I already got the money. That makes sense? Right? So I go to Papa Do's. I like Papa Do's. I sit there. My ticket at Papa Do's is $50, $60. Right? Charge the $60 because I was going to use my debit card to pay for that anyway. Let it hit the credit card. As soon as it hit, turn around and pay the $60 on the card. I've used the card, but I've made a payment, which means I have utilization. a payment, but my utilization is zero on that card because I pay. It doesn't carry a balance over into my due date. So same thing with these secure cards. All right, you already have the money to get the tank of gas. You finna use your debit card, use your credit card, get the gas, pay the gas back off. Okay, you struggle with knowing when to pay the credit card. If you can't remember nothing else, pay it off before the due date. Oh, you talking about remember when? Put reminders in your phone. All right, put reminders in your phone. Set a reminder to come up 3 or 4 days before the due date and say pay Capital One, pay Discover. All right, pay Chase. Put a reminder in your phone. And just about every credit card that I know of, even Credit One Bank, allows you to set up automated payments on that card, and it will pay at least the minimum due on the due date. So the least you do is you never forget to pay the card. All right. So I would say this to you, and this may sound a little harsh, but I don't mean it to be harsh. I mean it to be very direct. One of the disciplines is you got to remember, you got to figure out a system to learn to remember to pay your debt. All right, you got to do that because you can't get to the mortgage lender and say, the only reason my score is low is because I struggle with remembering paydays. All right, put a reminder in your cell phone. We walk around with these things 24/7. Put a reminder in your cell phone. Say pay Credit One. And go when you get that alert, get online, set up the payment. Even if you don't have the payment that day, set it up for the due date for at least the minimum amount. My advice to you is never just pay the minimum. Right? You pay the minimum, you're gonna pay for everything you got on that card several times over. Try your best to pay more than the minimum. All right. So you're somebody that can develop good credit. All right. Because credit is about being accountable. That's all it is. It is about being accountable. But in this case, it's about being accountable to yourself. Because if you need less money when you have good credit. Okay. You go to a car dealership, you got bad credit. You can get the car, but you're gonna pay $650, $700 a month. You have good credit, you walk in, no down payment, and pay $400 or $500 for the same car. All right. So get in your mind and make this a priority. Check your account, check your credit regularly, and do what you got to do to develop a strategy to have good credit. All right. So again, charge something on the first, pay it off by the 7th, so that by the time the due date comes, you have a zero balance. And here's another trick that they don't want you to know. You will pay no interest on stuff if you pay it off before the cycle date or the statement date. So you charge something on the 1st, you have a due date of the 15th, your statement date is the 18th. It's normally 3 days later. If you charge something on the 1st, pay it off on the 10th, you just borrowed that money without paying them interest. And when you get to a certain level with your credit, for me personally, I only get credit cards now that have a cash back reward. Okay. I only get credit cards that have a cash back reward. If you fly a lot, get frequent file, get some kind of reward on having a card. So let's go back to my Papados thing. All right. Discover is an account. Let's just use it. Discover is my favorite credit card. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just so many perks. All right. Discover, Amex. I don't have an Amex yet, but Discover, because that's what I have, is my favorite. They're typically gonna give you 1 to 3, sometimes 5% cash back when you use your card certain ways. So if I go to Papados, my ticket is $60. That's if I go by myself. Got a family of 4. So if I go by myself, my ticket, I'm just gonna say is $60. It's not always $60, but let's just say it's $60. I charge it on there, pay it back. Now I've paid my payment for the month. And they're gonna give me 5% of my 60. So not only did I borrow the money without paying them any interest on it, I also just got them to give me 5%. So I got $3 back on my $60. You get what I'm saying? I just played with house money. And these are the games that the wealthy pay with the banks that cause them to succeed. So let's just say that month, this will never happen, by the way, but let's just say that particular month, I spent $500 at restaurants. Okay. I got 5% back. That's $25. If I can either pay my bill with that 25 or I can have them put that $25 back in my account because it's a cash back reward. Try to get credit card, build your credit to the point that you can get cards that have credit, that have cash back rewards, and get the biggest limits on cards that you can get, so that lowers your utilization. Are y'all here? I hope this is helping you, y'all. And I'm gonna try to wrap up in a minute because I've used a lot of your time already. All right. You try to get the biggest. If you got a $2,500 limit on a card, you need to go put a set of tires on your car for $1,000. You still have used less than 50% utilization. Now you're over 30, sure enough, but you can pay that $200 here, $200 there, and get back under 30%, and now you're not hindering your score. All right, and I just said that because that's what my tires cost on my truck, Lord. But hopefully your tires are cheaper. Hopefully you got $600 tires. All right. Thank you. I hope this is helping y'all. Next thing, debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio. Got you. There's that part you was confused about. Okay. Debt to income ratio is just what it sounds like. How much debt do you have compared to how much money you make? Your debt to income ratio is calculated by your monthly payments, such as credit cards and loans that report to your credit bureau. So when you go get ready to get a mortgage, they're looking at your debt to income ratio. They're looking at how much money do you make versus how much debt are you carrying on the regular. This is vitally important because I see it in real estate often, that somebody has a 700 credit score. They think they're ready to buy a house, but when we pull the credit, we realize that their debt to income ratio is astronomical. When it comes to getting a mortgage, there is a front end debt to income ratio and back end. Front end ratio is, what is your debt to income ratio before we add a mortgage to it? Okay. You can calculate that by taking how much debt you have and dividing it by your income. I think I said that to you the right way. If not, it may be the opposite way. All right. So let's use round numbers, and I'm going to calculate it here while we're talking about it. Let's say you make $3,000 a month. All right. Let me speak something. Look, let's say you make $5,000 a month. All right. You make $5,000 a month. And you have, this ain't counting your rent because your rent ain't typically is not on your credit. Let's say car note, credit cards, all that kind of stuff. You have $2,000 worth of debt that you pay every month. You have $5,000 worth of income. You have a 40% debt to income ratio right there. That is kind of high. Okay. So think about that when you go and get that car. Think about that when you got all those loans out. Think about that when you have credit. If you have $5,000 that you bringing in and $2,000 that you paying on debt, student loans, credit card, you got a lot of debt, because when we add a mortgage to that, then all of a sudden now you got an 80-90% debt to income ratio, and nobody's going to approve you for a mortgage with a debt to income ratio that high. Okay. Is this helping? I hope it is. So let's say you make the same $5,000, but you have $1,000, right? You have $1,000 worth of debt. Now you got a 20% debt to income ratio, and you in good shape. All right. Because now we add a $2,000 mortgage, which brings you to $3,000 divided by your $5,000. 60%, that is a high debt to income ratio, which means you can't afford a house according to the bank for that much, but you in a lot better shape than going to 80 and 90%. Is the 30% utilization a total of your credit or each separate account? It's kind of both. All right. So total utilization, as far as the credit is concerned, you want your total utilization to be less than 30%. But the easiest way to do that is make sure it's on 30% on each card. All right. So I know I didn't probably answer that question the best way, but it literally is both, because you can have 10%, 10%, 10% on all your cards, and then you got one card that's 80%, where your overall utilization is it's very low, but that one card that has 80% utilization is still going to drive your score down. Okay. So again, let's say you got 0% utilization because you got a card that's open. You don't charge nothing on that. You got 0, 0, 10, 0. You got one that's 80%. That 80%, that 180% card is still going to hurt your credit score. Now, it may not hurt it as much, right? Because you got some balance, but it's still hurting your credit. So good question. That question always come up, by the way. All right, debt to income ratio. Make as much money as you can, have as little debt as possible. So think about that when you go get that card just because you can afford it. All right, I make $5,000 a month. I'm gonna go get me $1,000 car note. Okay. Well, when you put in the other loans that you have, the credit card, now you gotta, and I've had that happen where I've had somebody that had the credit score, made decent money, but they had a $1,200 car note on top of their other loans, and now they can't afford the house according to the bank because they wanted to drive a car too soon. Always buy the house before the car. All right. The car lot will approve you for stuff that the mortgage company will not. Lastly, cleaning up the info on your credit report. You can do this yourself, or I can help you to do it. You need to pull your credit report, not just the score, not Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, and all that. You need to pull your actual credit score at least once a year. You can do that with annualcreditreport.com. They'll give you free credit reports every year. Annualcreditreport.com will actually allow you to pull an actual, here it is right here. Okay, annualcreditreport.com. All right, you can go to consumer.ftc.com. You can go to myfico.com. All right, you can go to all three. Here's the phone numbers for all three credit bureaus. You have the right to see your actual credit report every single year. And you need to make sure to do that, because if your name is Rufus Williams Jr., your name isn't, mine is, right? If your name is Rufus Williams Jr., right? I'm going to say my middle name on here. For the people don't know it, you're going to hear it one time, act like you didn't hear it. Rufus Wayne Williams Jr. My grandparents are from Alexandria, Louisiana. Don't make fun of me. Rufus Wayne Williams Jr. If I pull my credit report and that credit report says Rufus Richard Williams Jr., that is a direct indication that somebody is probably fraudulently using my credit report, and I need to get that name removed. If I pull my credit report and it says Rufus Williams Wayne Jr., that's an indication that somebody is using my credit incorrectly and inappropriately, right? They're doing authorized transaction. If it's Rufus Richard Williams Sr. or Rufus Wayne Williams Sr., even, I got to get that pulled off my credit report because that's not my name. I got to get addresses that I've never lived at. So having a name that you've never used and having an address that you've never lived at on your credit report is a direct indication that someone is using your credit. You got to get a stop on that. So you need to pull it every year. You want to make sure you don't have accounts on your credit that shouldn't be there. All right. So pull those credit reports. Again, if you need more assistance from me and my company that does credit repair or credit restoration, here's the email address. You can email me. If you got my phone number, you can give me a call, shoot me a text. All right. I have a credit monitoring link that I can send you. It's about $21 a month, but it'll allow you to look at your credit reports as often as you want. All right. Without it being an inquiry on your credit report. You can pull that. In addition, I am running a special this month only for everybody that starts off this month with me this month, and my credit repair will be $49.99 a month, or $49 a month, plus the cost of credit monitoring. All right, we'll be able to pull all your credit reports side by side, get all that information that's incorrect or outdated, be able to get those things off your credit to help you. Now, I did not hold this session as a means to kind of market my own business. All right. I got a marketing plan already, but I do want to offer that to you and allow you to take advantage of it because once that special is gone at the end of December, it will be gone. All right. I'll be signing up ASAP. Good deal. All right. Send me, email me, call me, text me, whatever you need to do to get in touch with me. Before we let go, is there any other questions about credit or understanding credit? right? So I've taught you how to read what impacts your credit. I've taught you about how to negatively impact your credit. I've taught you how to positively impact your credit. And most people don't know these simple things. And as a consequence, there are a lot of people that's walking around with low credit scores, paying ridiculous interest rates on cars, continuing to pay out of hand rent prices because they don't know how to impact your credit. And let me tell y'all something. If you scared, you'll never get better. Stop being scared to talk about money. Stop being scared to talk about your credit. All right. Stop being embarrassed because of ignorance. And I'm not saying it as an insult. I'm saying it by definition. Ignorance is what you don't know. Don't be scared because you're ignorant to a subject. Learn how to do it. Every time I'm working with a client, they credit ain't satisfactory. What's your credit score? Oh, it's low. No, don't tell me it's low. Tell me a number. All right. Then tell me why it's low so I can see if I can help you to get it raised. Stop being scared to have money conversations. Stop being scared to have credit conversations. You need to impact that so that you can better even impact your family for generations and you can impact the kingdom. All right. Believers should be able to walk into banks and get loans. Right. Believers should be able to drive a nice car because you got a decent credit score. Believers should be able to live. You ain't got to be rich and wealthy. You ain't got to be extravagant, but you should be able to take care of your family. So buy now, pay later. Some of them don't impact your credit, some of them do. All right. It just depends. And they typically will tell you, like Klarna. All right. My wife is a Klarna fanatic. All right. Because we're a little bit frugal in these parts. So we don't like to pay for expensive stuff out of pocket all at once. So let's say she has done it. She bought me a pair of Air Max. All right. Them Air Max they was high. I don't remember how much they were. They was expensive. They was anything over $100 to me is expensive. Sorry. But they was over $100. So when she bought me the Air Max, she put them on Klarna. She made, I think, 4 payments on them and paid them off that way. That particular payment arrangement did not impact our credit at all. However, Klarna, and I forgot what the other one is that a lot of people are using. Some of them do have plans that do impact your credit because you have to have good credit to have those longer payment arrangements. All right. So it's pretty much just pay attention to the details. They'll tell you if they do or if they don't. All right. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope this was impactful. It will be saved on YouTube, so you get to go back and watch it as many times as you need to. You can watch it in parts. All right. If it's a little long, you don't want to watch it all at one time. You can send it to people. Please send it to people. All right, so that they can benefit from the information, because this is what I believe is kingdom, and this is my assignment in this season. Not just this, but to get us to stop ignoring this part of our living. All right. So I'll put my email address on the screen again. If you need to get in touch with my company, email us right here at Boomerang Credit. Did I spell that right? I did. It's 2 R's on there in purpose. All right. My children are Raylan and Ryan. Had them in mind when I built it, when I set this company up. All right. Boomerang Credit Boomerang Credit at gmail.com. Email us. I'll get you set up and get you started and get you the help you need. Or if you have additional questions, please email me there. As always, thank you so much for joining. Y'all have a blessed rest of your Saturday. Go in peace.